What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Megan, show fitness instructor.
Belt buckle trainer, teaching you everything overhead squat and what you're going to be tested on the 7th edition. We just talked to a couple people who passed recently. The study guide is what helped them. They focused on that OPT model and what Megan's going to cover today with the overhead squat.
So we're going to go over the overhead squat. First, I'm going to have Chris take off his shoes just so I can see any compensations at the feet. So you're going to want to know the 5 checkpoints for NASM that we're talking about here. So you have the feet, your ankle, your knees, your LPHC, lumbo-pelvic hip complex, your shoulders, and then your head or neck. So that's the 5 for NASM that you need to know. And for that, you're going to have some compensations occurring during that. So while he's doing the squat, as the trainer, I'm going to be walking around. There's going to be 5 reps that he's going to be doing from each side. So he'll have his arms up, and he's going to perform the overhead squat, trying to go down normally. 5 reps you'll see on the side, lateral, in the front, anterior side, and in the back, posterior side. So when he's doing that, I just want to make sure he has a good upright position, that there's no compensations. Say he was to do that, and when he's going through the overhead squat, his arms fall down. What we're going to look at here is what muscles are going to be tight, overactive, causing them to fall forward. So you'll see it's going to be your pecs in the front, pectoralis major. In the back, you'll have your lats. Those would be the main ones. Obviously, there's a lot more, but those are the main ones to know for that scenario. And then also underactive ones, so the weak ones that are going for that. So anytime you have your arms fall forward, your weak back muscles would be your rhomboids and your mid and lower traps. So that is for one of those compensations. You also have another compensation if you have an excessive forward lean. So your client's going through that. You see that their torso is going down as such. So what's causing them to go down there? So tight, overactive muscles, once again, muscles that you want to stretch out here would be your hip flexors. They'll call it your psoas, would be the main ones there. You also have more acronyms for this one, GASH, G-A-S-H. So you have your gastrocnemius, your soleus, your adductors, and your hip flexors, which they will refer to as your psoas. So those are ones that you want to stretch. Once again, which ones are weak, underactive here, we'll look at here in the front. Deep core muscle, your TVA, transverse abdominis, and you'll also have your glutes. Probably one of the biggest underactive muscles that you'll see during these. Next one we'll have is going to be when your knees cave in. So when your knees cave in and your client's doing the squat, also referred to as knee valgus, what muscles are bringing your knees in? They will say it's going to be the guys in the middle, your adductors, adductors would be tight in that scenario. Once again, weak underactive is your glutes. And then the last one, when your feet turn out or flat feet, also you'll see this demonstrated as a postural distortion pattern, the pes planus distortion pattern, what muscles are causing them to turn out. Once again, look at the checkpoint. You'll see your gastrocnemius and your soleus would be tight in that scenario. Anterior, posterior tibialis underactive, weak there.
I'm going to hop in real quickly because I was just talking to a trainer at Equinox. We have a great partnership with them. They love hiring Show Up Fitness CPTs. And this trainer was working with a client on another assessment because they worked with another trainer. And that client told the trainer that they were diagnosed with dynamic knee valgus, pronation distortion, use all this terminology. And the client was like, yeah, it just sounded like a bunch of hogwash. Didn't work with that trainer because of the vocabulary. So you may be learning this to pass the NASM CPT because you can't get a refund within 28 days. Put your NASM hat on, get all pretty, take the test. When you pass it, remove a lot of that vocabulary because you're not here to scare people. We're pro-movement. That's why we have our CPT. It's the best out there. I'm a little biased though. So this video specifically is what you need to know for the NASM exam. You need to focus on this terminology. So we got overactive. You're going to see the adductors, gastrocsoleus. You're going to see your psoas, which is a hip flexor. You're going to see your lats. You're going to see underactive, which are the muscles that we need to foam roll and stretch. And that's what we're going to go to here in a second. Give me your mid-back, right across here, rhomboid major and minor, middle trapezius, lower trapezius, deep core muscles, your VMO, don't ever say that, it's just your vastus medialis, anterior tib muscles, and your deep cervical flexors. So we need to recognize where they are, either over or under. And then we go to the phase 1 of the OPT model, which is stabilization endurance.
Exactly.
And then we're going to foam roll. So if you have problems with the gastroc, you get your little foam roller, buddy. Oh, I love this guy. And we're going to, you don't have shoulder issues, if you're fine, you can come up. And then we're going to hold for 20 to 40 seconds. I think that's what the 7th edition's saying.
Mm-hmm.
I like to make it a little more challenging, go back and forth. I like to incorporate dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, and get even more involved as the trainer. So Megan's going to come over here and press down on my calf. Always ask before you touch a client. And just make it a little more challenging. Whew, that's a lot more aggressive than me doing it by myself. And then you switch on sides and you get there. So we got the gastroc, soleus a little different. So if we're going to get into the adductors, you got to hump the foam roller, get here, make it all weird and personal. Same thing. Press down, get a little more activation in there. And if you want to get some knee flexion, knee extension to make it more challenging. And then the psoas, you're not going to do your lats. You're going to go right across the mid part of the back, 20 to 30 seconds. And if you're smart, which I think you are, start adding this up. How do you feel a client? How do you think a client's going to feel if you foam roll for 5 minutes of the warm-up? Because that's what NASM has on there. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to be paying 130 plus bucks an hour to do that. But that's what you got to know for the exam. Get into the lats. Now, vocabulary, what's going on here?
Vocabulary. So we have SMR, which is self-myofascial release, technique that you're going to use, aka foam rolling. And then a type of term that you would need to know is autogenic inhibition. So what that is basically just saying, it's going to state that when there's a prolonged stimulation of the Golgi tendon, that muscle spindles within the same muscle are going to relax. So key terms there, when you see autogenic inhibition, G in autogenic, G for Golgi tendon, think relaxing of that muscle because it senses that tension there.
And then what we're doing next is you got to stretch immediately after that. So the gastroc is going to be a straight leg because the gastrocnemius is biarticulate. That means 2 joints that it crosses. So I'm holding here for 20 to 40 seconds. If I wanted to get the soleus, I would bend my knee, and it's going to be your lower calf. That's the difference between those 2 muscles. Holding for 20 to 40 seconds. Remember, foam roll stretch, phase 1. Move into phase 2, 3, and 4. We still foam roll, but now we're going to do active isolate. So for the calf example there, you might do something like this, 1 to 2. 1 to 2. For the lats, 1 to 2. 1 to 2. And then when you move up to power, it's going to be something that's a little more dynamic, sport specific. So a lunge with the twist. You know, what else are we doing?
Yeah, multiplanar lunges, prisoner squats, they like a lot.
Just doing that, doing some type of multiplanar stuff. And so then we got the static stretching. Now we're going to activate the muscles that are underactive. And so for the most common one, dynamic knee valgus. So you have internal rotation of the femur, adduction of the knees, which is frontal plane, and then we have eversion at the ankle. So we got to do the opposite to strengthen. We're going to get our Show Up Fitness bands right here, pretty in pink. Put that on, frontal plane to strengthen the glutes. 4, 2, 1, 1. So nice and slow on the way in. Other way. Nice and slow on the way in. You're going to do 12 to 20 of those repetitions. Frontal plane. Remember, sagittal, flexion, extension. So coming forward, this is flexion. Coming up, extension. Flexion. There we go. Extension, tricep extensions. Extensions, flexion, all sagittal. Example that we use in class a lot is pretend like we're in a clock. 12, 6, 3, 9, any other time. So when I go to 12, when I go to 6, sagittal. Lunging, squatting, jumping, bicep curls, chin-ups. Right and left, 3 and 9, side band walks, jumping jacks, pull-ups, military press, flat pull down, all frontal. Any other time on the clock, transverse, rotation, chest flies, reverse flies. All things that you need to know for the NASM exam. And then what else we need to cover on this one?
Oh, I think the last one we were going to do the ball.
Everything is stability ball, squat, curl, press.
Yep.
The best exercise ever. I've been a trainer for 20 years. We have 3 gyms. I've never done this on a client. Never would. This is pretty stupid, but you got to know it for NASM. Squat, super slow, curl, and press. Why are you being a dick, Chris? Why are you saying this is stupid? Because this isn't teaching a knee-dominant exercise, and that's what a squat is. This is teaching more hips. So maybe if you have a client who is going through some type of rehab and they're working with a physical therapist, sure, we have physical therapists on our team, the prehab guys. And with our partnership, we send clients to them, they do physical therapy stuff, and they come back to us for training. I'm not going to dabble in that arena unless specifically they were to say, Chris, this is what I want my client to do. Contraindication is that word that you'll be looking for on the NASM exam. So you need to know, anytime you see this exercise on the NASM exam, just choose phase 1. That's everything that you need to know for passing within the OPT model, but overactive, underactive. We just had a couple people pass recently. We helped over 33, I think we're at 3350 right now. And the ones with the best success stories are like, just focused on the guide, just focused on the daily calls that we have. It made it so much easier because I was going over here to this dipshit's website and this person's guide and Quizlet, and there's just so much information. I don't want you to memorize 800 pages of an outdated 2023 7th edition textbook, outdated. The terminology is not up to date as of 2023, but that's what you need to know for the exam. And then what's going to happen is you're going to pass, and you're going to be like, oh, I need to just take a break. I just need to unwind. That's the worst thing that you can do. You need to go out there and start training ASAP under proper supervision, learn how to program, learn how to sell, the assessment, all things that we will help you with when it comes to show fitness. Once you do pass, you got 30 days free access to our level 1 CPT, and I have a money back guarantee. You'll learn more in 30 days than any textbook certification on the market. If you want to become successful, check out our book, Show Up Fitness, How to Become a Successful Personal Trainer.
It's your girl, Megan.
Keep showing up.